Whenever a developer can't think of what to do for a sequel to make it bigger and better, they usually just tack on an open world to it. For example, Borderlands 4. It's an open world game now, I guess. You know, that's a smart decision. The game that's known for its combat encounters and grinding for loot, it now has big open empty areas that you have to drive around to get to them. Brilliant idea, Randy. Amazing idea. And Jedi Survivor as well. They made that open world for some reason, even though the first Jedi Fallen Order was this like tightly designed level-based Metroidvania game where there was a lot of shortcuts and backtracking within the areas, and it was just incredibly tightly designed. And then Jedi Survivor's just like, oh, here's a big open area, there's some points of interest you can find. Go run and look at our amazing run animation that looks like the main character shit himself. What I'm trying to get at here is the open world genre is very, very hard to get right, and there's quite a lot of different factors that make or break an open world game, which is actually another video I want to make. But I wanted to talk about some open world games that I do actually enjoy and don't make me bored out of my mind going around them to the points of interest that are marked on the map, because they all follow the same formula as Ubisoft open worlds for whatever reason. I don't know why that is still used, but hey, it can work. And an example of that is Sunset Overdrive. Broke my phone. Sunset Overdrive is literally your bog standard open world game. You know, you go from point to point, you do a mission, you find collectibles, and outside of missions and collectibles, there actually isn't much going on in the open world except for some enemies lurking about. What makes Sunset Overdrive so fun to me is the traversal. The joy that I have playing this game isn't from the curated missions and the set pieces. It is getting from point A to point B in the most fun way I can, and the game promotes this with its traversal. And before anyone asks why I'm talking about this and not Spider-Man, which is by Insomniac Games as well, the same developers, it's because you actually have to put thought behind the traversal in Sunset Overdrive. Listen, I love the web swinging as much as the next guy in Spider-Man, but you cannot deny it is pretty mindless. I know you can make it harder for yourself in Spider-Man 2, and it is satisfying, but when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, it is literally just you press RT or R2 and you swing, and then press X at the right time for momentum. But in Sunset Overdrive, the main traversal is grinding on rails and jumping on objects. And there are so many objects, walls, grind rails around the area that you need to look out for to keep the momentum going. And it is quite easy to mess up and fall onto the ground, stopping all your momentum, which adds to the fun of it. And that's what I love about it. It is like a giant game of the floor is lava. In between missions, you're playing the floor is lava the whole time. Just so good. Everything else about it adds to it, like the aesthetics, the music that plays in the background, and the weapons you can shoot whilst grinding on the rails and wall running and all that stuff. It's just an amazing time, man. And also there's an achievement for not touching the ground for a certain amount of time, and that was, I don't know, man. I come back to this game quite a lot just to mess around in the open world. It is so fun. And I wish Insomniac would make a Sunset Overdrive 2. I know the IP is in limbo somewhere lurking, but it is peak open world fun, and more people need to play it, especially if they're looking for a good open world to mess around in. Just want to pause the video here to give a shout out to my fellow Patreon supporters. First of all, I'd like to thank Pitstab, who is a mega supporter, very epic person. Bouncer Storm Productions, and Daniel Leftchenko. I think I said that right, but yeah. Thank you all so much. Thank you very much for supporting me. If you want to get your name read out, then you know, I have a Patreon in the description, and I'm gonna start doing this for every video. Another good open world to mess around in is free games, actually. And I'm talking about Dying Light 1, Dying Light 2, and Dying Light the Beast. All three of these games are just parkour sandboxes. It's kind of similar in the way that I really like Sunset Overdrive, where the main meat of the actual gameplay is finding creative ways to get from point A to point B. And you never really want to fast travel in these games, because the gameplay mechanics around the traversal are just so enjoyable to mess around with. It's actually quite hard to pick which one out of the three would be the best in terms of their open world, because Dying Light 1, I think immersion-wise, is easily the best. Dying Light 2, parkour-wise and mechanically, is the best. And Dying Light the Beast is kind of a mix of both, but it also has a car, which is kind of a crutch for the big open areas where you can't really parkour much. But it has the same mechanics as Dying Light 2, just not with a bunch of randomly generated skyscrapers, so it has more of an immersion to it. So it's pretty tough to choose which one is the best out of them. I would probably personally say 2 because it is the one that I open up the most just to jump around in the open world. I also really like the paraglider. I think that adds heavily to the parkour, and the grapple hook is amazing too. Incredible open world games. They all have pretty bad stories. They all have quite a lot of flaws, and honestly, if it wasn't for the parkour, it would be like Dead Island 2. I don't know why people like Dead Island 2. It's not even open world really. It's like zone based, and also it's based in oh god, a fucking shithole place, and I live in the UK. I also want to mention smaller, more tightly designed open worlds, where points of interest are way closer together rather than being spread out, which in turn makes you have to traverse on a vehicle or a horse, which is probably the biggest crutch of a boring open world, I can't lie. And what I want to talk about is Tainted Grail, which is basically an Elder Scrolls game, but not horrifically boring. It's a bit of a hot take, but yeah, the acts of Tainted Grail are like these pretty small, tightly designed maps that look amazing, and there's frequent points of interest within very short distances between each other, so it's actually fun to explore. You're not just exploring randomly generated shit because the game's too big for its own good, and they can't physically make handcrafted areas that frequently without crunching the developers and possibly killing them. But yeah, there's a few open world games that aren't completely miserable to go through. There's 2 that I do want to try out at some point that are more indie, and that's The Nightling, which seems to take the best mechanic from Breath of the Wild, that being the shield surfing, and making it into the entire traversal mechanic, which it just really interests me. I'm looking forward to playing that at some point. And Star Overdrive, which, well, I mean, you just have a really fast hoverboard and you really get a sense of speed going around that open world. I mainly made this video because I wanted to plug Sunset Overdrive. More people should play Sunset Overdrive. Incredible game, but it's not as good as The Evil Within. Now that might confuse you a bit because, you know, The Evil Within isn't an open world game. It's a very linear game actually, but do you know what isn't? The Evil Within 2. Now that is an open world game. That has little open world sections that you go around and stuff. Oh, The Evil Within is so peak. We're never getting a third game, but